bored. I'm like, I'm bored.
No, dead ass. When I saw her at older one's birthday party, I was like, I don't think Shelby would like this. And she started laughing at me. I was like, I think of you all the time I think of her every time we do these. Oh, it's moved. Can you move it back? It's not centered.
Samantha. I realized that I have a new thing that I do.
Great.
I'm about to tell you what it is, and you're gonna notice it now.
Okay.
But I say correct a lot. A lot.
Damn it! I don't realize it. Now I'm going to. I'm in a hyper.
Dad put this upon me. He plagued me with it because we were at the vet.
Dad's fault.
We were at the vet, and Roxy had a swollen lymph node. So we went to go get it checked to make sure it wasn't cancer, and it wasn't. Thank God.
Literally, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. You saved my dog.
You saved my Republican dog.
You saved my dog. You know what it was? It was those 3 wishes that I spent $9.95 on each. That went to Donald Trump, who went to his voodoo doctor.
No.
And she prayed to Jesus.
It was that $150 bill of Donald Trump that I bought.
No, it's $149.99. Get it right the first time. God damn.
But anyways, we're in there.
Go to Taiwan.
We bought. Where am I going? Hello?
I don't know. We bought
vest. I did some research before just to see what are the possibilities that this could be. So when the vet was explaining, hey, because they couldn't get any liquid from it to decide if it was an infection, so they were like, we're just going to put her on drugs and hopefully it works, and it did. But she's explaining everything, and in my brain, she's saying all the things that I was like, that's what I thought. So she'd be like, yeah, we think it's just, we're thinking it's just going to be this. And I was like, correct. And so I'm like, she's saying everything. And so she leaves the room. I said correct, I guess, a bunch. And Dad sitting there laughing when she leaves. And I'm like, what is so funny? I'm like, how is this funny? And he's just like, she would say something and you'd be like, correct. And I was like, what? He's like, you said it as if you were as if she was getting quizzed to be a veterinarian. And she was like, yeah, I think it's a bacterial infection. And you were like, correct. I was like, Dad, no. I was like, I only said it because I was agreeing with her. I wasn't saying it as in yeah, you're right, vet who has a degree. Yeah. And I'm just a fucking researcher on Google.
Yeah, I'm a Google vet.
I was like, I was saying correct as in I agree with you. Oh. I think this is what it is.
So now you overthought it. So now you were sitting there thinking that hates you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I was like, great. Now she hates me. Do I need to go find her and apologize?
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's back there not caring at all.
She either didn't give a fuck or she's like, that fucking bitch.
Yeah, she's literally like,
who has a degree?
Yeah. Like, what school did you go to?
So now at work, I'll realize I'll be talking and someone will say something and I'll be like, correct. And then I'm like, me now I notice it anytime I say it, and I said it a bunch the last podcast and I was like, I hate myself.
Well, I'm also had a chewy, so I don't recognize a lot. Good. I thought you were about to talk about being in space. Anyway, so
what's up? What were we gonna say?
Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that Megan and I have both seen, but finally get to talk about it, and that is the incredible, if you have not seen this, there is an incredible Titanic documentary on Disney Plus. If you are a millennial Titanic girly girl / if you're an Aries, Titanic sank on April 14th, 2 days before my birthday. Not back then because I wasn't alive. I wasn't even a thought. I wasn't even a petri dish. But you guys, it is one of the most incredible. Were you haunted? Let me give you a premise, okay? So we're walking down a hall. I'm just kidding. So for 2 years, I think it was, this group of scientists.
2022 to 2024.
This group of scientists got together, and for a whole year, they had these 2 aqua
Romeo and Juliet
boats, and they would go down and they would essentially scan and take photos of the Titanic wreck in the ocean.
Every angle orifice that you can imagine.
Every single thing you can imagine. And then for a following year, they all got together.
Put all the pieces together.
An entire digital blueprint of the Titanic in the ocean with everything around it too.
Yeah, where all the debris fell and everything.
All the debris around it. And then they went to a studio in Hollywood and they
projected it.
Built No, it was screens, like a TV screens, and they
Correct,
built
but
it
it's
all
like,
the way.
but it's projected.
Yeah, they made the scale of the Titanic
in front of them
with all of them, so that way they could stand next to it. And bitch, it was giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I almost started crying.
It was.
I was very emotional watching this.
Very haunted.
It's haunting. But it's also just so fucking cool.
It is so.
But it's
cool.
also so sad when you feel like when you realize the information that we found out.
I felt
the things that these people did
and dark. Like I felt dark when I was watching it. I felt very heavy.
You know what just makes me sad though is that that's gonna be gone one day. It's all
when
gonna
they
be
said
eaten.
that, I was like, man, oh man.
It makes me so
man.
sad that there's just eventually it's never gonna exist and people are gonna be like, wait, where was it?
But that's for
like they're
thousands of years. That's gonna
I
happen.
don't know.
I think
It's good. It's looking a little rough down there still. A lot of it's already been eaten away by the bacteria.
But it's crazy that they have found like people's items still just chilling there. And I'm like, they'll still exist.
Yeah, you can still see people's shoes and stuff like where that person like their body's gone because it was eaten. Like even the bones and everything have been eaten.
Yeah. It's it's creepy. But and then to watch them stand next to it was even creepier.
That's what kind of made me like
spooky.
But also I was kind of like, I wish I was there.
The whole time I was like, how fucking cool would this be to stand here? But also I would be like, I think I would uncontrollably be crying because I'd feel so uncomfortable because this is the other thing is they don't make it so it's like a pretty digital shot. It's full blown like you're in the deepest depths of the ocean. I think
that's why it's scary.
That's why it was freaking me out. I was like, why can't we put a pretty background or something behind it?
No, like you're
a screensaver. No. You're in the ocean.
The bottom of the ocean.
And they basically, the best I can describe it if you haven't seen it yet, is they basically, like the boat pretty much looked like gold. And that was what you were reflecting. And it was great. And the crazy part too was they had it so that way it was accurately the length of where the front of the boat and the back of the boat are in the ocean.
Correct.
So it's not like you're looking at the entire boat all together. You have one section of the boat, the other section of the boat. My kid's doing something stupid out there.
No, I just said correct.
Oh. And so
I hate myself.
So that's the cool part too. And then how much debris and everything
other words
is
in that,
in between
the dictionary.
Both boats. But then all the stuff like the captain who they thought was like what he didn't or did kill himself. They're trying to
No, it was no. So hello haunted. Oh my god, what was his name?
I don't remember the name.
But he was like the head person of the team. He wasn't the captain of the ship.
Yeah.
Murdoch. Murdoch, they always thought that he committed suicide. And if you watch the movie, you see where he does. And they did that based off of history. Again, everything James Cameron did in the movie, he did based off of what you knew of history in that time. Yep. Anyways, Murdoch in the movie shoots and kills someone by accident, which he then ends up killing himself.
Yep.
Based off of the evidence that they found, he actually got swept into sea. He did not kill himself. He was trying to get one last lifeboat out to save as many people as he could, and he ended up getting swept into the sea and died. Which
is sad because for that long amount of time, everybody, was
like shitting on him.
Because if you know anything about captains and boats, you're supposed to go down with the ship. And people thought he was a coward for not going down with the ship, and come to find out he actually did go down with the ship, which is really sad and depressing and awful.
And was doing everything to keep as many people alive. That was his job at the end.
And they were showing like preventative ways that they could have fixed it, like basically. And
oh my god!
What was so interesting to me was like it's like the concept of when you're about to hit a deer or a moose, is you want to go like basically head on and hopefully flip over your car.
That blew my mind.
And I was like, this is the same shit where they were like, actually, if they would have hit the iceberg head on, they would have been fine. But and the boat wouldn't have sunk.
Think about how many people would have died in that impact.
But that's never going to happen. Hi.
Diaper.
Oh, in the black bag, it's a pull-up one. Okay. Yep. It's crazy that because they had enough room for 4, like let's call them chambers, I guess, 4 chambers under the boat that could go bye-bye, but more than 4, you're sinking.
So again,
and it was nothing.
A sheet of paper,
nothing,
the size of a sheet of paper.
It was like they literally died for like nothing. It felt like when I was watching this, I was like,
pissed me off.
They died for nothing. They died for the thinnest.
Had they
awful.
noticed it sooner?
Yep.
I do think the process they had would have worked.
Yep.
And if they did still hit it, because again, if you've seen the pictures, I think they've shown pictures of the iceberg. It did protrude out under the water.
Yeah.
But I still think if they saw it sooner, they would have stayed afloat, in my opinion.
I felt so bad watching that. I was like, something so tiny, like, hurts.
Took so many lives.
And it's snapping.
It's giving Final Destination.
Well, then the other thing, the reason why it snapped in half is because it was so forward heavy, because all the water got over there.
Well, that whole concept, teacher, that whole concept, how James Cameron was like, I'm gonna have to remake the movie because it's not possible for the ship to go all the way up and down and split. It had to do one or the other.
Yeah.
And they found out that it just split. It did not tip all the way up like that, like it did in the movie. And I'm like, James, don't change the movie. I know
Don't change the movie. Don't even touch it,
Don't touch it. It's perfect.
Just leave it alone.
And I understand that you're trying to be, as historically accurate to the story in general. That's the concept of it.
And he was at the time.
At the time, he was.
2000s, 90s or
but you cannot remake Titanic. Do not touch it. Leave it alone. Leo and Kate, they deserve better. Leave them alone.
It was just one of those things where I was sitting there watching it and I was just like so many people died. And they weren't prepared for so many things, and they skipped a lot of things that they shouldn't have skipped, and they didn't have enough boats, and it's just and then the people that survived and didn't survive.
Well, the things that certain
rich people didn't survive, like big time rich people that we know about nowadays.
The things that
crazy.
The things that people did to the very last second to try to help save other people.
Oh, yeah,
broke my soul. So the guy that was sending out the messages, one of the people stayed behind. The other guy left, but one of the guys tried to stay as long as he could, getting out messages like, please come and save us, SOS, ship is sinking, going down fast.
But he couldn't have done that if the guys down below that were heating everything up.
All 35 of them.
That made me so sad.
To the last second until that thing blew up and split.
The lights were on while it was sinking. Is so, because if it would have blown, it would have been pitch black. They wouldn't be able to see anything.
People below deck that were still trying to get out would not been able. They didn't have cell phones back then. Like,
so sad to think that all those men were suffering under there and the fault, like the smogginess and the heat, and oh my god, it made me so sad.
Yeah, but they did it to try to save other people, and that's fucking phenomenal.
They were able to get boats to find them. Oh, it's so sad. Mm-hmm. It was so well done. It's only like 3 episodes, I think, something like that. Was it 3 episodes or was it?
No, I thought it was just 1 hour or something.
1 hour thing. Okay. But it was so well done. It was cool because they had like a sailor from I think the Navy, right? Was one of the guys on there.
Well, that's how he talked about the Murdoch story.
That's what I liked. I liked that it gave like a boatsman's perspective as well.
The rules and stuff really of what goes with it.
Yeah, to kind of add to the science of it, to add to no, this is accurate, and here's why. If you were someone that did stuff with boats, you would know this, and this. And I thought that element of it was really, really cool. My question is now is okay, so we this is me and my little, is it practical mind or something or whatever, is they spent all this money, they spent all this time, for what? It's okay, so are they going to use this technology, or are they going to use what they learned from this to learn how to prevent boats, from sinking, or to prevent things from happening? That would be really cool to be okay, you guys did all of this, you spent all this money, all this time, and did all this, so now, with what you have, and also the technology that they use, what are they going to do with that now for other things? Because I've been really into the pyramids lately, and if you guys don't know, to tag along into all this ancient crazy shit, they have been finding massive shit underneath the pyramids in Egypt, using
the pyramids
technology.
Creep me out.
Yeah, using technology, they're finding more underneath the ground, and so I'm this is so fucking cool. Could they use this type of technology to recreate the inside? Which is crazy.
Isn't the conspiracy that the pyramids were created by aliens?
Yeah, or some other being, because the way that they came about and how fast they came about basically is not real. That really couldn't happen, I guess. Yeah. But I'm also they had slaves.
Well, yeah, if you watch The Prince of Egypt,
yeah,
that kind of gives you a look into that
world. Which
also,
we were watching The Prince of Egypt when we were that young.
I love that movie.
DreamWorks
really fell down after what movies was it? There was the Prince of
Anastasia.
Egypt, Anastasia. There was a good little chunk during that time when we were kids that DreamWorks was like popping off, and then they went down into the hole. When it comes to like musicals, like Shrek and like Ice Age, great. But like musical movies,
basically like they were trying to be Disney movies, but their own versions of them.
Oh, they were really, so good. Really Prince of Egypt. As a kid, I used to cry watching that every single time. It was so good, so well done.
I want to see the inside of what they're finding, because the way they're finding it is they can't go down there. Obviously, they would die, and they don't even know how to get in half these places. But they're trying to find all these burial places of all these emperors and Cleopatra type of stuff or whatever. They're trying to find all this stuff, and it's just the Egyptians were just so smart. They're so smart, and the shit that they would do, the things that they would hide, the rituals they would do, like, they're so fascinating. So I'm sitting there, like, watching this Titanic documentary, and I'm like, oh my God, they need to figure out how to, like, recreate and, like, put the inside of the pyramid, like, right there so you can see what the inside of it looks like. And the fact that the depths that they think that it's in the ground is insane.
Yeah, that blows my mind. When they showed that in front of them, my stomach turned. I was like, oh my God, that's insane how fast. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Think about how much water was in it, pushing it down. It finally detached and just...
No. It's just, I can't. It sounds like one of the worst ways to die ever. But it's a really great documentary.
It really was. It was really good. Really well done.
Really well done.
And I've watched almost all Titanic documentaries. It's my favorite movie of all time.
I was like, said it now. Yeah. And I was like, is this new? No, brand spanking new. It was for the anniversary. And it's very, very well done.
I saw Titanic 3D.
That's crazy.
So good.
That's
Steph and I went and saw it together. Duh. And it's just
see, like, in 3D the guy that smacked the propeller. That's awful.
You read my mind.
That's awful.
So back then, okay, we were like laughing about it. We were like, oh my God, we're gonna see the guy hit the propeller in 3D.
In 3D, this poor man.
Oh, but like we're watching it.
Who's not real.
So the first chunk, we're like, oh my God, like in awe. Like I love when Jack does like, I'm the king of the world. And they do that little pan. I was like, I can't wait to see that
Boob
in 3D.
In your face.
It's going to feel like I'm there. Well, duh.
Yeah, you're like.
And those were like the first titties I ever saw.
Yes.
And then
so many
we get to like part 2, because again, I always used to watch the VHS of Titanic.
There was 2 VHSs, you guys. Do you know what a VHS is?
So there's part 1 and part 2.
There was 2 of them. It was a big deal, you guys.
It was.
One had Jack on it, and one had Rose on it. Okay, it was a big deal back in the day.
I have them. I have one. I have the standard one, and then I have one in widescreen.
It was the shiz back in the day.
But we get to part 2 in the movie, and we're in the theater, and I'm literally just like, you felt like you were there.
Yeah.
So I'm just like quietly weeping.
Yes.
And Steph just keeps looking over at me like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm just like, this is more than I anticipate. It was amazing. I would do it again.
Well, yeah.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie of all time. I would easily go to the theaters again to watch it.
They did bring it back, right? Didn't they bring it back one time into theaters?
For the 3D.
It was for the 3D. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Bro.
No. Sorry, I ate a gummy.
Listen.
That's crazy, though.
It was amazing.
It's a very good movie, and every time I watch it, I do get a little tremble and cry.
Oh, I cry every time.
Because it is very well done. It pokes at your strings, and then her...
Well, yeah, because you love Jack
reminiscing.
Yeah.
And then, hey, guys, spoiler alert, old Rose there has got the diamond the whole fucking time, and she just goes...
And the part at the end though when she does pass away and it goes back to the ship and it comes back to life, that made me cry. That makes me cry every time.
That made me think of though, like the documentary. I was like, oh my God,
bringing it back to life. Imagine. I can only imagine.
I think anymore now.
No, I think they said in the documentary the last survivor
I thought
passed away.
Yeah, they're all dead now, which is also but also makes you think like it wasn't that long ago.
No, 1912.
It was long. But then I also think about that, like the concept of like time when you watch these things, when you watch these documentaries and you're like, oh my God, the Titanic was only like 100 or something years ago. But then you think about Egypt and that shit is still around, you guys. People don't understand that the America that we think about, like Christopher Columbus America, is a baby compared to like Europe and the shit that's been like buildings that have been around for centuries. Like it's crazy. And I think the Egyptian pyramids were from Christ times, like beyond that shit. That's
true.
Crazy to me. That's crazy.
BC.
See, it makes you think if the pyramids
Before
can last,
Christopher.
Titanic can last. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hope so, because that just makes me sad to think about it being gone one day and then nobody being able to find it.
But then it's also kind of crazy when you think about how, like, so there's, like, a lot of towns underwater, essentially. Like Pangea, people talk about, and stuff like that.
Creeps me out.
Because the water, like, rose and went over parts of land. So there's countries that used to touch each other. And so they know of native people that had migrated from one country to the other. And it's like, how did they get there? There's the water. It's like, actually, no, guys, there actually used to not be water here until the great whatever, I think Ice Age or some shit like that. And then it makes me get really fucked up in the head and goes, when's that happening? When's it happening to us? Is it happening? Is it going to happen, you guys?
Well, no, eventually it's going to be
out.
Nothing but water.
And then it makes me think about all the underwater creatures that are underwater that
we don't know about,
waiting about, and that when a little jiggle in the earth happens, they're gonna go.
Oh, you remember that one with the light thing and it died?
Megan, I felt so bad, but I also was like, stay down.
Well,
there.
haunting,
stay down.
But
there.
also, it was just going towards the light. Like,
I know, but what else is down there? Oh, I don't like it.
Well, we've already seen that fish before on Finding Nemo.
That's not a very comforting feeling because there's things down there that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah,
that are gonna come up and say, "Hey." And I'm going to cry.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
They're
like, how did they become?
The ocean is disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, like the fact that there's only like 0.1% we've discovered.
Oh, no, that makes
insane.
It makes my stomach hurt. It makes me want to cry. It makes me never want to go in the ocean. Like, you guys, if I don't like going into lakes. I don't like going to oceans. Anytime I'm in one, I'm instantly like going to die. I know it for a fact.
Remember when we were kids and we would go to Nanny and Papa's camp and Papa made me afraid of sunfish because he was like, every time we'd like catch a sunfish, he'd be like, careful, they're gonna cut you.
Yeah, because they prick you because they're suns.
And so every time we'd go swimming and I couldn't get out of the water fast enough,
you're gonna die.
I was like, the sunfish are gonna scrape up my feet. And then Nanny would be like, get over yourself. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. And she's like,
I would rather be, though, in the ocean, like a calm ocean, than a lake, because you can almost never see the bottom of a lake. Almost never. I will say, though, I have been never. I will say I have been to one lake that my husband brought me to, and it was the clearest, most beautiful lake I've ever been to. It was incredible. I wish I knew the name of it. I wouldn't tell you anyway, because then you'd be able to find me.
Oh.
But yeah, no, the water is terrifying and scary, and I don't like the water.
Oh.
At all.
I love Titanic.
I wish I had a pool, though.
When I lived in a certain area that wasn't here, there was an antique store, and they were closing down, and they had a like 3D. What did they call it when you look at the little sticker on the antique store? But it was like a what the fuck is it called? The box thing. Where it's like a picture, but it's a box. What is it called?
A picture box?
No, it's like is it like a ghost box or something?
Yeah.
Is it? Is that what they're called?
Sounds right.
Well, it was like a 3D diorama, like a 3D. It was the Titanic in this box, but it's a picture.
Yes. You're gonna get there.
And I wanted it so bad, but the time I went, I was like, I can't afford this right now. I'll come back a couple like closer to the close down. When I went back, it was gone, and I was devastated because I wanted it so bad to add to like my little Titanic collection that I have.
Yeah.
And it was gone, and I think about that a lot.
I think about the Titanic game that me and Jasmine used to play with all the time when we used to throw dice at Jake. And guess what they did? They found it online, and I said, if you ever get a chance, bring that goddamn thing over so we can play with it. Because that would be hilarious. Because we are all in very different places of our life now from when we were throwing dice at each other.
Steph. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I can't stop yawning. It's that time of day.
I'm
no, you're not.
It's that time of the month.
Steph and I bought a puzzle, a Titanic puzzle, but it's like a mystery puzzle. So like as you put the puzzle together, you're figuring out the clues as to what happened.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was really cool to do. And it was just like of a scene in like a first class person's like room.
I hate that like Americans, I feel like, are really good at making tragedy like
happy.
Buy this plate set of a devastating, like, you guys, when 9/11 was happening, they had commemorative 9/11 plates.
Yes.
What are we talking about? 9/11 commemorative plates. No one wants to commemorate 9/11 in that way.
No.
That's how weird. See, that's why when you see Donald Trump doing it, that's to us as millennials is not weird because we grew up with every Pearl Harbor.
Well, it is weird, but
Paul Harbor. Pearl Harbor. Commemorative plates. It was a thing. It ain't anymore though. No. Well, I think it is.
They're probably still out there, but
and you know what's left next to? I can't. The checkbooks. Remember the checkbooks? You could have a bunny. You could have precious moments. Angels. Commemorative Pearl Harbor. You could do it all.
Yeah, I bet. I'm pretty sure they had commemorative 9/11 too. They had the towers.
You guys don't get it. We were trying to make money off of tragedy way before you guys were.
100%.
Way before the Kardashians were. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I don't know. I love the Titanic. I remember when I was young, growing up, I always wanted to go on it, and I'd always be like, "I'd love to go on it," and then when it crashes, I'd like to leave.
Remember the Titanic museum we went to in Florida?
First of all, okay, when we went, there was they were building a bigger one at the time.
I didn't even think of that.
We should go to that one day, but also. In one of the southern states, maybe one day when they're not evil and disgusting down there in the south.
Yeah.
Is it like Tennessee or something?
Sure.
There's a Titanic museum there, and it's gorgina.
Never even heard of that.
And you know what? I remember my core. I think I have 3 core memories from the one in Florida that we went to.
Yeah.
So the first core memory was walking up, and they had. It looked like you were walking onto the ship. They had the sounds of the sea, and like it felt so cool. It's like, oh my god, I'm going on the ship. I'm so cool.
Yeah.
So you went on the ship. Second core memory is being devastated that we could not walk on the grand staircase because the fucking flyer that we found in Florida was like, take a walk on the grand staircase.
These are the memories that
they
only they
showed
remember.
Pictures of people walking on it, and I was like, the main reason I wanted to go was to walk on the grand staircase.
Mind you, at this time, they were 10 years old.
I didn't get to fucking do that. I was livid. I was so pissed.
10-year-old.
There was like gated off.
Obsessed with Titanic.
Oh, I used to print off pictures from the interwebs.
You guys don't know what that's like.
I wasted
off pictures.
I wasted so much paper and ink. Mom and Dad wanted to kill me. And I had a folder. I had a Titanic folder. I had a Moulin Rouge folder. And every day I'd go on the internet and Google Titanic and find new photos from the movie.
You were only 10.
And I would print.
Those movies are not for 10-year-olds.
And I would print pictures and I would put them in a folder. And I'd be like, my Titanic folder. And then when I was sad, I would look through the photos and it'd make me happy. And I'd find new photos of Jack and Rose together.
I love being a millennial so much.
I bet I have that folder somewhere still.
There's no child right now that is 10 years old.
You know what's even funnier? My boyfriend at the time in 6th grade, okay? 6th grade, Zachariah. Zachariah.
You sound like you are literally...
That was his middle name, y'all.
Church boy.
His name was Zachariah. Mm-hmm. He kept breaking up with me. It was a good time. Anyways, but he'd get back together with me. He thought it was funny. He'd break up and be like, and I'd start crying. He'd be like,
Titanic.
He'd be like, just kidding.
Get it back to Titanic.
So he drew me...
like one of his French girls.
He drew me a photo of the sinking. That's a gift. And I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this is art.
What is wrong with you?
And I think he wrote some like quote in the water and there's people drowning. And he was like, here you go. I think he gave it to me for like Valentine's Day.
Dying.
And I was like, art.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know me. You love me.
And Zachariah, marry me today, right now. At lunch, next to this cheese plate.
And I probably have, and he put it in that little like plastic cover so it's protected. So like I have that somewhere still. If I ever find those things, I will show you on the podcast.
Thank you.
But yeah, I used to print all those. So, okay. And the third core memory was when you went to, in the room where that piece of ice was, and they had the ice to the temperature of the water.
And the room was too, I think, right? How cold it was?
I think on the deck.
Yeah.
And then, so they were like, okay, let's see who can keep their hand on the longest. And I was like determined.
10 years old.
I was like, bitch, I can do this. I can hold on longer than all these stupid ass hoes. So I had my hand on there. I don't think I was the last one, but I think I was very close.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you guys all let go. You were like, my God.
You remember things that are
and I was like, you weak motherfuckers.
10 years old.
I could take this.
Holding it like they were holding
I love
Rose's
how
boob.
I'm just doing my hand too. Yeah, you're like, as in like I can do this in my full body. Easy.
Your little baby 10-year-old hand.
And then after I took my hand off, my hand was in so much pain.
You're like, I did it. I'm the strong one. I feel the power.
I've waited my whole life for this.
You Katy Perry.
But seriously, then we
Watch
went out
the
on the
last
deck.
episode.
We went out, well, we went out on the deck and we saw the stars. That was kind of cool, seeing like what it was like to be on the Titanic at night.
Which was that specific night. No one was looking at the stars that great that night.
No, but yeah, that was cool. I would love to go back to Florida to whatever they have it as now, and then I would love to go back to, or not go back. I'd love to go to that one again. I think it's in Tennessee. It's huge.
Do they
it's
have it
massive. They have artifacts.
Do they still have it in Florida though?
I think
that was so long ago.
Well, yeah, because again, when we were going, they were building a bigger one.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago though. That's our baby.
The little pitty patty.
Well, anyway, we have to go get my baby. I will say that.
Oh.
But if you guys like Titanic, comment below. Titanic heads,
Titanic lovers, let me know. Let me know if any of you other millennials did what I did, where you printed a bunch of photos and kept it in a folder secretly.
You probably didn't. All right, we love you.
Love you guys. Goodbye. My heart will go on and on. Steph and I sang that at her grandparents' wedding anniversary.
No, you didn't.
Yes, we did.